Here's our Mini Cooper turbo upgrade. The upgrade is 51mm by 62 by 66. Here's the original compressor housing. The original compressor wheel is 38mm. This is the stock compressor housing, so the inlet is really small on that. I had to remake the casting completely, or I paid somebody to redo the whole casting and the machining, but then I do machine these out because we have a bigger compressor wheel that we put in them. The reason I had to redo the casting is because this wasn't thick enough to be able to press a pipe in here. You can see how thin it is right across here. This turbo should be good for close to 400 horsepower. I had someone make 400 horsepower on this compressor wheel. They're from Greenland. The turbine housing, I have, these are just remakes. These I had remade for the biggest turbine wheel that we could fit in there, which is a 44.4 by 59 blade KO4 turbine wheel. If you have a Mini Cooper, one of the most common problems that they have is they have this wastegate problem. I just recently got parts to be able to fix that problem. So if you do need those parts for the wastegate repair, you can always send us an email, or I'll try and remember to link to the repair kit in the description box. We also have an upgrade rebuild kit that goes in this. That's really important if you do a turbo upgrade like this one, because if you go with a larger compressor wheel, it needs a stronger thrust bearing to be able to have enough ground surface on the thrust bearing. That allows you to run a bigger compressor wheel, because when you start to use heavier wheels, it does a lot of wear and tear on the thrust bearing. But if you upgrade the thrust bearing, then it will be perfectly fine and durable at high boost levels. You can see these two holes here. This is for the blow-off valve. Or you can call it the diverter valve, because that's what they're actually called when they're on the compressor housing. This is the blow-off valve, or you can call it diverter valve, which is what it's commonly called. So this recirculates the air pressure back into the compressor wheel. When you let off the throttle, it's necessary to relieve the air pressure back to the compressor housing, or the inlet. That just protects the turbo from compressing so much air in and not having a way to relieve itself. Because of this blow-off valve being here so close to the turbo, that makes it so much more efficient than having the blow-off valve by the throttle body. The reason it's like that is because it really helps with fuel mileage. I think it just helps with simplicity altogether too. It was Porsche, the manufacturer, that figured that out, that it made sense to put the blow-off valve on the turbo, or as close to the turbo as possible. They realized that on the dyno when they kept moving the blow-off valve around, trying to figure out where it would spool up fastest and be most efficient. So having the blow-off valve as close to the turbo as possible is the best place to have it. The way that this turbo is designed is that it has the wastegate to where it pulls it back. So because of that, it can wear out on the bushing and arm and all that. But the good thing about it being designed like that is that you can control the boost a whole lot better that way, rather than the old design where older wastegate actuators are made so that it was naturally closed, and then when you apply a certain PSI from the turbo, the air pressure runs to this nipple right here, and it will open it at the spring of this wastegate. The flaw in that, though, I think that a lot of manufacturers realized, was that when you do it that way, the exhaust pressure can prematurely open this wastegate, But that's not really going to matter on a factory setup, because that only matters when you're trying to run high boost. Then you kind of have problems like that. The Mini Cooper turbo is twin scroll, which is pretty neat. A lot of the turbine housings from the OEM OEM turbine housings do end up cracking, so it's nice that we do have these replacements. However, the OEM housings are actually really good quality if they're not overheated too much. The OEM housings are made of a nickel and cast iron material, but they can still crack. It's really common. There's also a couple versions of the Mini Cooper turbo. One version you'll see has like a cutout around this area. I don't know if that matters or not as far as this housing being universal or not. I think that's to allow for a gasket, but I'm not really sure. And then the drain, you'll have two versions of the drain. One is a 2-bolt flange drain, and I don't even know which one this one is because I didn't build this one. But there's a 2-bolt version of the drain where 2 bolts hold the drain pipe up to the turbo, and then there's a 1-bolt version where 1 bolt just holds the drain up, and I think it probably has an O-ring on there to seal. So keep that in mind if you do want us to do the Mini Cooper turbo upgrade. You do need to use the same bearing housing so that your drain works. If you want us to do this build, you can always email us at turbolabamerica@gmail.com, and I'll see if I can fit you in for one of these builds. I don't really do these that often, but if you want me to do it, I might do it for you.